Mark, are you up?
I'm up.
Go for it.
All righty. Hi, Mark Thibault, Growth Strategy Advisors. And so Michael wants us to tell me something new I learned this week. Well, actually, I did. I'm in the process of learning all about digital storytelling. So, that's going to be pretty exciting. So we'll see how that goes. And it was a class that I taught probably 2, 3, 4 years ago. Hadn't had for a while, so I'm learning it as I'm teaching the students. So it's actually pretty interesting. But back in the day when I taught it, it was more about storytelling. Now it's to develop a pitch, and so the whole goal is to come up with a brand strategy at the end and pitch it. So that's actually pretty cool. So I'm excited. But anyway, just briefly, real quickly, what I do market discovery, I do competitive analysis, I do industry trending, and I do that basically both qualitatively and quantitatively. So that's what I do.
Okay, and Mark and I are co-pitching on a project.
Yes, hopefully we'll succeed.
That's right. It's a company I've done some consulting work for in the past. They are in the plumbing industry. So we're going to be plumbing the depths of plumbing. All right, anything else to add? Any best leads, whatever? You got a few more seconds.
Oh, okay. No, just best leads. I'm always open to introduce anybody in the group. I mean, so just let me know. And of course, I'll take any introductions that you can provide to me. That's great.
Wonderful. Okay.
Alrighty.
And Mark does a lot of work with both brands as well as private equity firms. Okay, so Kevin McCarthy just joined. Kevin, I'm going to put you at the end of the list. So next would be Audrey Glover Dichter. You're up.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. I'm an attorney, and if you want to make your marketing work for you, not against you, so have it review for legal compliance. I'm a little distracted because my husband's on the over here and it's kind of loud. Sorry. So I'm an attorney. I do advertising, marketing, promotions law, helping businesses stay legally compliant with advertising law, intellectual property law, privacy law, and ADA online compliance. Something I learned, I'm in the process of learning how to put together a LinkedIn business page. So that is, for me, a major learning curve. So it's been interesting. I'm also learning how to use Canva correctly so that I can do a new banner, which I put on my personal, and I have a new banner on my personal page and my business page. So it's been fun. As far as I basically review advertising in English and Spanish for any business, especially when it comes to online compliance. Websites are, absolutely crucial and important for every business, but they're also the way a lot of businesses get themselves into trouble because obviously, you need consistency and you need to be legally compliant with all 4 fields of law. So I review for all that, and I also draft all the legal documentation that you need for privacy compliance and ADA compliance. I work with your IT department. So I work with advertising agencies and website designers, PR, and CMOs. But of course, if a business owner wants to come and work with me directly, that's fine. But usually what you don't know, and what you don't know in this situation will hurt you. So Audrey Glover Dichter, I'm in South Florida, but it doesn't matter where I am because it's all federal law. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Loretta Lurie.
Good morning, Loretta Lurie. I have started my own consultancy recently. I'm very excited that I have my first client that I'm working with diligently right now through Michael. What I learned was listening to Stephanie Rule this morning is that it's amazing that Turner Media can still continue to be the largest money loss that there possibly could be for mergers. The new merger today, or the loss of what AT&T divested yesterday, is really incredible to watch. That what started out as Ted Turner's empire has just continued to be the largest losses in the media world, or in mergers completely, which kind of fascinated me. So probably not a great new thing to learn, but it was, for someone who's been in media for 40 plus years, I found it very interesting this morning. Anyway, Mike, as I said, I'm working now with clients to help them with my contacts to be able to bring a media point of view to their clients and be able to hopefully help them to be able to figure out either how to get business with them or to extend the business that they're doing. Very excited that a couple of companies have reached out. One in particular that reached out with that. I've been in predominantly pharmaceuticals for the last 10 years. Company that reached out that I thought I was going to move forward with, it does not appear I'm going to. And so I am looking for someone to partner with in the pharmaceutical world. The company I'm working with right now, that's not really their priority, and they have plenty of others to get to before that. So if anyone knows of someone that I may be able to be of help to within that category, that would be great. Otherwise, the only other thing I would say that I've learned is I have been working with a career coach that I met on another networking group, and have found it to be much more productive than I ever imagined that it would be. So if anyone is looking for someone, I have somebody that I would strongly recommend.
Wow, that's great. Okay. Sharon Shanzer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharon Shanzer. My company is RLD Group. I am a graphic designer / web developer / email developer and consultant, sort of Jane of all trades. Had my company for 20 plus years, and I'm based in Manhattan. I work with clients and companies of really all shapes and sizes, startups, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. And for me, referrals really can come in any format. What I'm really good at is sort of taking in opportunities, parsing them, deciding if they're good for me. And if not, then I'll always refer them out to somebody else. So if you have an opportunity, you're not sure if I can do it, just pass it along. I will never just sort of drop the ball or just say, no, I can't do it. The word no does not exist. Unfortunately or fortunately, does not exist in my vocabulary. What I learned, I don't know that I did too much like business learning this week, but I did learn that if you move from one apartment to another apartment in the same building, it's the same amount of work as if you move from one apartment to another apartment in a different building. I was kind of imagining that it would magically all sort of happen without me doing anything, and I was wrong. I didn't have to pack and unpack. That was the one thing. So that's it. So Sharon Shanzer, RLD Group, web designer, print designer, et cetera, et cetera. Nice to meet everybody. So
Hey, congratulations on your move. That's great. Into a bigger place?
Bigger place, yeah.
Good for you.
Same building. Still a lot of work.
Christina Hagopian.
Good to see some familiar faces here. Hi, Sharon. How are you? And many of the same faces here. Thank you for having me, Michael. I am also a graphic designer and creative director. And we do specialize in the luxury and lifestyle categories, but we've been working more on the mission side of things, where organizations are coming to us when they need help fundraising. A lot of our work is through email marketing and through direct mail, and we're finding a large a way of increasing their donations through the same tactics that we have in e-commerce, is trying to make these messages really resonate, have an emotional connection. So to give an example, the one thing I learned this week is when a client comes to you and they see one project that is very similar to what they want you to replicate it. And like, I want that. So I created a whole portfolio just of our fundraising projects so I could send to these clients, and I'm closing them faster because they see themselves in these projects, and they're able to imagine how we're going to be able to help them with their branding and their messaging. But we just got approached by Black Lives Matter in Canada, and that's an exciting new project that we could be closing soon. And that was exactly what happened. They saw our project that we did for Montefiore, and they saw that we were fundraising for them, and said, can you create the same sort of system? Also, a mental health organization in New Jersey, for the same reason. So I'm now starting to create these like mini portfolio booklets. So that's my little tip for everybody, because having a specific case studies to their direct ask after they've spoken to me, I'm having much better conversations in the sales process. So I would love to have any of those types of conversations with you to see how I could possibly help you and your clients, or especially for the referrals. How can if something's not right for me, I'd love to be able to pass it on.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina. And Christina's up in Harwich, Massachusetts, right on the
Yes.
elbow.
I just moved.
All right, let's see who's next. Ken Simon, then, oh, Sharon, I have you twice. Ken Simon, you're up, then Howard.
Hi, I'm Ken Simon. I work with small and mid-sized companies, helping them understand who their customers are, what their markets are, and then develop strategies for them to use to go after those customers and markets, whether that be digital marketing, website design development, search engine optimization, etc. I usually target companies in the financial services industry, technology and manufacturing, and to some extent retail, but I'll also work with anybody else as well. But those are the industries I am targeting. I guess what have I learned this week? Well, I've been off for the last 10 days. My son got married, but I learned what a crab boil was. And I never had a crab boil before, so now I know all about crab boils and what happens in the South, and also grits. I was down in Hilton Head, so I learned some Southern cooking.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
In Hilton Head. So did you have to put on a Southern accent?
Well, I'm not going to try, but yeah.
All right. Wonderful. So let's see who is next. Howard, then Jason, then David Cutler if he's back.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Howard Levy. My company is Red Rooster Group. We help nonprofits to wake up their brand. I've been specializing in nonprofits for about 30 years. So we have deep expertise in all areas, all sectors of the nonprofit landscape, helping to revitalize brands, to create effective marketing campaigns, and to drive fundraising revenue. Those are the three core areas. So essentially, if it has to do with nonprofits, on the marketing or fundraising side, that's what we do. We will look for organizations, typically kind of medium-sized organizations that have a status quo of some sort. They need to reevaluate themselves. There's more competition. Their fundraising's not working. Their organizational name or mission, is no longer working for them. And we'll come in, we'll do the assessment. We'll develop effective strategies for them and all the creative development to get their name out there and their word out there, their communications, their website, and so forth. So I was on an email marketing seminar this week, and I learned not anything new, but it's kind of reinforcing some of the behavioral principles I have a great interest in. I'll share one of them with you. You may have heard of loss aversion. It's the idea that people are more motivated. In fact, some studies have shown 2 times more motivated to avoid a loss than they are to achieve a gain. So in your marketing, if you're helping clients or you're on your own, you're telling people, what you could do to help them achieve some benefits. That's good, but you might also want to experiment with helping people to understand what they will lose if they don't act, whether it's time, it's money, other opportunities, things like that. So it's worth experimenting with some of those types of messaging that play on loss aversion and see how that could help motivate people out of the status quo, particularly if they're on kind of a borderline of buying or acting that can help potentially push them over.
And tell us about your surroundings there. It's certainly not Manhattan.
Yeah, right. So we're renting a house out in the Poconos. So this is the first beautiful day that I'm actually moved my computer outside and work, and hopefully this will be an ongoing experience for me.
Sounds great. We can tell it's not a fake background because we hear the birds.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Jason Kramer.
Either that or he's got some sound effects, going on, on the audio, and he's fooling us all. Jason Kramer with Cultivize. So I'm going to ask a bit of a rhetorical question. Does anybody know why 69% of businesses will fail to implement their CRM? So the reason is that they don't have the expertise to understand how to do that in-house, and they'll actually never reach their business goals with their CRM. So Cultivize helps B2B and direct-to-consumer companies who are spending typically $30,000 or more. Our range is usually 30 to about 150, 200K in marketing spend annually that our clients are spending, not with us, but with a marketing agency. And they're coming to us to help streamline their sales and marketing processes, and also retain more clients and improve the repeat buyers and enhance their internal and external communications. So why do they choose us for their CRM needs and then marketing automation? It's because we educate and train our client sales teams. We also provide a complete done-for-you white glove service to develop the strategy, implementation, and the ongoing tweaking that'll be needed to reach those goals and success. Prior to my business Cultivize now, I have 20 years of marketing experience, which allows me to blend that with my technology background. So it's a unique approach. And lastly, there's only 30 companies in the world that have our certification in what we do. So we're the only one in New York that has a certification as well. And something new that I learned is a app, which I'll put in the chat here, called Glock Apps, which is a really great tool for anybody that's doing any email marketing at any level. And what it does is it checks a few things. One is your domain to see if you are at a good sender status, if you're blacklisted, if there's any issues, but it also lets you know where your email is going to wind up. Is it going to end up in the promotional folder of Gmail? Is it going to end up in spam before you even send it? So it does a really deep dive analysis. We just brought on Stepping Stones Museum in Connecticut. They were using Constant Contact, and we found a whole slew of issues with Constant Contact that they didn't even know existed that we're able to fix and identify. So that's a great tool for those of you that are doing it internally or with clients, Glock Apps, and I'd be happy to talk offline with anybody about that tool.
Can you put it in the, is it Block Apps?
Glock, like the gun, Glock.
Glock app.
Glock
Oh, okay.
Apps. I'll
G-L-O-C.
put it in the chat.
Okay.
Thanks,
wonderful.
everyone. Good to see everybody.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I noticed that you have a change there in your positioning from marketing automation more towards CRM. Is that correct?
Not so much about change positioning. We still do both, but it's more about not everybody knows what marketing automation is, and it's tied into CRM. So I've started using that in explaining what we do.
All right, cool. David Cutler, did you come back? Let's see. I don't think he did. All right, so John Michael Bailey, then Andre Archambault, and then Brian Rudolph. John, first time, right?
First time, so go easy on me. John Bailey, I'm with Wellspring Digital. We are a full service digital marketing agency. We do digital marketing strategy that leads to tactical application of things like SEO, pay-per-click marketing, marketing automation, which has been mentioned, content marketing, social media marketing, and web design and development in terms of working in the WordPress world. One thing that I've learned, and I want to have like one-on-ones with everybody on this call so far, so this has been great. One thing that I have learned, and it wasn't necessarily today, it's been ongoing, is I'm really more of a sort of an organic content marketer. I believe in the power of content. I'm a writer. I do all those sorts of things. And so I had the very naive belief that search engine optimization was basically just glorified content marketing strategy. And I came to work with Wellspring last year, January. I used to own a web design and development firm for about 17 years. I sold my shares in that. I went to work for Wellspring. Wellspring is run by a guy called Carl Hindle, who is one of he's friends with all the SEO greats. He's been an SEO since like 2000. He knows his stuff. He's legit, and I am learning every day to really appreciate all that goes into SEO. Not only just, I think most people think of SEO as either an on-page optimization, or they think of it as just link building. But there's so much more to it than that. I actually just wrote a blog post titled "Yoast is not an SEO strategy," so check that out if you are so inclined. But I think the thing I'd like to share is that I just have a newfound appreciation for the time and effort that goes into SEO, and I see the power of it beyond just writing good content, good keyword-rich content. So, as I said, I would love to connect with any of you if you ever want to have a little one-on-one Zoom chat. I'm open for that. Again, John Bailey with Wellspring Digital, and I am in the South, and I love grits, but I'm in Maryland, technically the South, so we steam our crabs here, and we will have it no other way.
And Maryland is the crab king capital, or the king crab capital, or whatever.
So good.
So yeah, so everybody, if John, you could do it as well. Put your LinkedIn in the chat so people can reach out to you. Of course, you have the list, and if you of people who are here, if you save the chat at the end. But it may not be easy to find people specifically on TRN yet, the website, because we don't have people listed by name. But you can certainly find them on LinkedIn. All right, let's see. Andre, then Brian, then Kevin McCarthy, then Jeff Schwartz.
Good morning, or unless anyone's in Europe, I guess it's good morning to everyone. Or maybe in Asia, or anyway. My name is Andre Archambault. Lovely to see, I think I know about half the room at this stage, and lovely to see the rest and meet the rest of you. My name is Andre Archambault. I work for a division of the USA Today Network. We're basically an in-house agency that can do anything from website creation, SEO, SEM. We were founded, the division of the company that I'm with is called Reach Local. We were founded 17 years ago as a pure SEM play. At that stage, when I joined the company 11 years ago, that's all we did was SEM, with a few other ancillary services that we've only improved on in a big way. We were acquired by the folks who own USA Today about 5 years ago, next month, I think. And we have evolved into a pretty full service agency, up to and including email marketing, Google shopping, still doing SEM and SEO, programmatic display, up to and including over-the-top TV and connected TV campaigns, doing some really, really cool stuff in that space. And, sort of home run clients, actually at the moment, I'm putting a fair amount of effort and energy into travel and tourism, given the fact that there will be a fair amount of, I think, pent up demand. I heard the term pent up demand on like 7 calls in 4 days about a month ago. And I think that's going to be one of those spaces that we're going to experience that. Maybe not immediately, but it's the kind of thing that will build brand over time. And probably the most special thing that we have in our tool chest is branded content, because we get between 150 to 170 million eyeballs hitting the USA Today network every month. And it's an engaged audience. It's a fairly affluent audience. And there's almost not a place in the country where we don't have a presence. We own 300 local publications around the country, with USA Today as kind of the beachfront property in 46 states. So there's almost nowhere that we can't touch a consumer. And using the USA Today network to tell that story is a really, really valuable place. And it's actually yesterday was my 17th anniversary in media sales. And I'm exceedingly pleased that I'm back to pitching an audience, because that's where I started at CBS Radio 17 years ago yesterday. And the thing that I've learned this week from a business perspective, don't book a ton of meetings the day after your second dose of vaccine. I looked at this yesterday and I said, oh, I can do that from the bed. And it turns out I had left my calendar open for 10 o'clock and someone else squeezed in there. I was like, screw it, I'll get up and clean myself up, etc. Such as this is.
And you can see from Andre's background, he is a music aficionado.
I am.
All right, cool.
Thank you for making me feel seen.
Absolutely. I see that cash back there, I assume, is Johnny.
It is.
All right. Brian Rudolph, Kevin McCarthy, then Jeff. So Brian, you're up.
All right. Well, I have to start first with also reinforcing the Maryland crabs. I grew up in Maryland, so cannot stress Old Bay seasoning enough. Do it. Okay, so my name's
Lifeblood.
Sorry?
Sorry, Lifeblood.
Lifeblood, absolutely. I'm heading up there in 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. Anyway, my name is Brian Rudolph. I am currently living in Atlanta, have been for the last 25 years or so. I focus on digital marketing and digital transformation. I've been an independent consultant for the last 2.5 years. Prior to that, I've run an agency and had some extensive client experience with companies like Coca-Cola, AT&T, and B2B Verifone. As a consultant, I'm focusing on both digital marketing and digital transformation led by digital strategy, the customer journey. And once I work with a client and map out, depending on their stage of digital maturity, either digital marketing foundations or a roadmap for digital transformation, then I position myself as a quarterback and pull in resources, many of, across multiple networks, this being one of them, to focus on the individual components that have been built out in that roadmap. I work with clients of just about any size. It is more about their willingness to make an investment in digital marketing rather than their overall revenue or company size. So then what have I learned recently? Interestingly enough, I've been playing around with painting for a long time, and I brought in a tutor to help me work wet on wet oil. And the level of progress that I've made has been pretty impressive, and it just reinforces leveraging when you are doing something, leveraging the right tools and the right expertise generate incredible results. So many people who come to me and say, well, you know what, I can build this website on my own. My nephew's at Georgia Tech, whatever the excuse is. Why spend those hundreds of hours focusing on something that is not your core expertise when you could devote that time to something that truly will generate results for your particular vertical, and let the experts manage what they do. So just another example of how to do why that's important to bring in people like us who are experts in what they do.
Thank you, and I love the background.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also into photography, so that's one of the shots.
Kevin McCarthy, then Jeff Schwartz. Kevin, you're up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin McCarthy. I've been racking my brain to think of what I've learned so far this week, but it's Tuesday, so get back to me on Friday, or I'll get back to you guys on Friday. And maybe I'll think of something as we go here. But I work as director of marketing for a company called Channel Media Group. We reach consumers in a geo-targeted fashion with samples and offers from consumer packaged goods brands, as well as restaurants and retail. I also have a software company called Meeting Machine, which delivers one-to-one introductions on a weekly basis within existing communities to introduce communities like this to each other, actually get people together on a phone call. We're going after that gap between like a LinkedIn group and a networking event such as this. Yeah, so those are two of my hats. I have a few more, but the ideal outcome from networking for me is to meet community managers, as well as meeting brands in the CPG world, restaurant world, retail world. Yeah, still can't think of anything I've learned. I am reminded that listening can be as helpful or more helpful than talking. So glad to be here and to hear all of your stories and where you're coming from. So thanks, Michael, for having me.
Absolutely. And Kevin, Kevin's Meeting Machine is available to the Trusted Referral Network. We have our own link. If you haven't signed up yet, it will hook you up with another member of Trusted Referral Network for a 15-minute call, just a quick intro based on people you haven't met yet and people who are not in your calendar. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. And it is in the newsletter, so it's been there for a while. There's a link to the page to sign up. It's worth trying out. You'll meet, it'll connect you with somebody based on your availability, your mutual availability, but it also does require a double opt-in. So if for some reason you check out the person's LinkedIn and whatever you don't like about them, you could decide not to meet with them. And Kevin and I are pitching something together as well. So, and that's through the Trusted Referral Network. So,
right. Yep.
Okay, let's see. That would be Jeff Swartz.
Hey everybody, Jeff Swartz, Ethic Advertising Agency. We're really a full service agency, but our specialty is hyper targeted digital advertising and the creative that goes along with it too. So, that's kind of the importance of our DNA is reaching the right people at the right time, but also saying the right thing to them as well. We really kind of have two verticals with what we do in our specialties, and they're really kind of broad of working direct with advertisers, but also filling the gaps for other ad agencies as well too. One of our strong footholds is in the programmatic space and really operating as a consolidated agency, but then actually has a lot of the in-house capabilities that some of the larger vendors do, whether they're a larger media vendor or a larger digital expert, those kind of things. And, one of the things that jumped out at me recently that I just can't shake that I learned is that America, for the most part, can't read that well. So, I recently came across a study that 52% of the US population can't read past the 8th grade level. And creative that is actually at like a 7th grade level and that communicates in that manner is significantly, well, I would say about 15% more effective than when you use big words, essentially. So in this study, it had that fact, and it was just kind of interesting where simplicity and speaking so anybody can understand it is important in all creative. And then there was even some other things too. And this was literally a seminar that I was a part of 2 weeks ago that I just printed out just to refer to. Things like free shipping increase ad performance 8% on average. Using the word "you" in the primary text of an ad increases it 7%, the ad effectiveness. Adding the the trademark symbol actually adds validity, increases it 7% for ad performance. And then something as simple as adding an exclamation point can increase ad copy and ad performance by 7%. So I thought that was fascinating, and I know there's a lot of creatives on here, and as well as a lot of strategists as well, where just something as like a little extra keystroke can maybe make a little bit of a difference as well too. So just wanted to share that as my what I learned for the week.
Thank you. Okay. And Jeff just put his LinkedIn in the chat, as everybody should do. Before I go to myself, have I missed anybody? Looks like a couple of people have dropped off. Okay. Then I will go. And I'll put my timer on. So as you know, my name is Michael Bendit. I'm both the founder of the Trusted Referral Network, as well as the founder of a company called Software Development Resources, which is just myself. I am an independent rep, sales rep for about 10 different software development teams. And I only eat what I kill. So I get paid on a commission basis, which is great for the teams that I represent because they don't have extra overhead. And it's also great for the companies that come to me because they don't pay me directly. I mean, I get paid by the teams that I represent. And my job is largely translating business to geek speak and vice versa. Because a lot of my teams, because they're very technically oriented and they live and swim in 3-letter acronyms, they sometimes forget that not everybody lives and swims in that same world. So I'm doing a lot of translation of, the technical stuff and buzzwords to what businesses need and vice versa, and explaining things in ways that the client can understand. What separates me is, from teams and directly going to teams, is that I do represent this broad range of capabilities, and I'm not really beholden to any particular team. Right? I'm not employed by any particular team, so that my job is to make the best match with the right team, based on budget, based on technology platforms, based on what the client's biases are, what they're looking for in terms of onshore, offshore, dual shore, all of which are options within the teams that I work with. Just as in terms of what I've learned this week, one of the things that I do in addition to software and building this network is I still do some consulting work. I used to work with a big consulting firm, and we have a potential job with a plumbing manufacturer looking at new markets or adjacent products. And I'm already learning a fair amount about drain cleaning. I will not clean your drain, but there's all sorts of machines that can clean your drains. There's snakes, there's augers, there's root cutters, all sorts of stuff. Now, I don't know if that has any bearing on marketing, but thought it was pretty interesting. We have about 14 minutes left. And so happy to take any questions about the Trusted Referral Network, of course, or if anybody has any comments, questions about they want to ask other people here in the group, I will just open it up so that people can ask questions based on what others have said, or maybe even what they've learned. And if Kevin has figured out what he's learned, he's certainly welcome to add that as well. So you can certainly unmute, and we'll make it a free-for-all. Still a lot of quiet. All right. Anybody have any comments, questions? Anybody have any questions about TRN and where it's going?
What's the vision?
Well, I have one question. So the calendar thing, which sounds like it's kind of like Lunch Club a little bit, which maybe some of us are familiar with. can you set that where, because I haven't tried it yet with the TRN one, can you set it where you say I'm only available for like one call a week, or how does that work?
Sure. I'd be happy to answer that, if that's cool, Michael.
Yeah, please. It's your product.
Yeah, so it is right now it's a weekly automated calendar invite. Basically, once you're on board, once you connect your calendar and log in with LinkedIn and input, I work in this industry, this is my job title, etc. I think there's 4 fields. It takes about 3 minutes to do, but then it's kind of set it and forget it. Every week on Monday, you'll receive a calendar invite to accept or decline. And in that calendar invite, it has already dialed in the appropriate time, or a time that works on both calendars that the algorithm can see as a mutually agreeable time. And it sets aside that time on the calendar for a 15-minute call. Includes the call-in number, the one-touch call-in number, and gives you a bit of information about the other person, why it made that match, as well as the LinkedIn profile link, so that you can check out their profiles to accept or decline the.
So Kevin, do both people have to accept? Let's say if it was me and you, we both get an invite, and then only one of us has to accept, or we both have to accept?
You both have to accept it.
Right.
It's
and if you don't, does it spit back another option, or you just skip that week?
Yep, that week is it gives you 24 hours from the time the invitation is sent to accept or decline. If both people don't accept within 24 hours, the meeting is canceled.
What if one accepts and one declines? Does the person who accepted get recycled that week?
No, it just moves on to the next week. So the opportunity, for more introductions would be to pay the $15 subscription, and every week you get 2 calendar invites, 2 introductions to accept or decline. Right? Doesn't necessarily guarantee a meeting, but it gives you more of an opportunity to have a chance at securing a meeting.
And it's only 15 minutes, so it's you could obviously follow up or expand, and go beyond that, but it's the commitment is 15 minutes, so to speak.
Right, and sometimes it doesn't work on someone's calendar. They have their personal calendar connected instead of their work calendar, and so the algorithm doesn't necessarily recognize time that's unavailable if the wrong calendar is connected or the personal calendar is connected. But that's why the LinkedIn link is there too, so that you might be able to reach out to that person via LinkedIn. If the time doesn't work.
And is there an option, Kevin, if both people wanted to use Zoom, or you just set that up sort of offline?
That's kind of the premise is, a 15-minute introduction on the phone, is kind of less, is more risk-free than setting up like a 30-minute Zoom call or an hour-long Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, and also, it's an introduction. So if there's some symmetry there, then the opportunity to set up a further, a Zoom face-to-face, and a lunch meeting, a beer, whatever, then that opportunity is there post 15-minute introduction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions.
And somebody asked me about vision for TRN.
Yes.
That person. Okay. The vision is evolving. I mean, one of the things that I have on my radar, a couple things I have on my radar is one, upgrading the website, which is currently underway. And that, I'm building it on a more flexible platform so that I can do things like have a person search as well as a company search. That will be one of the first things that will launch as part of that new system. And the other big thing is working on developing a chapter structure so that you can be part of a local chapter or an industry specific chapter that you define as a member of that chapter. My recommendation is that they be category exclusive so that you are the only one in that chapter that does what you do specifically. But that is up to the leadership of the chapter. But if anybody's interested in learning more about how that might work, please reach out to me. And so we do have people from, Atlanta and Maryland and Pittsburgh, a bunch of people from New York and Florida. Actually, it's getting broader, and Massachusetts.
Nice.
So we do have a broad geographic coverage, more so than we did in the beginning, and looking to build those little chapters that can be a force within their own geography or industry.